Alright y'all, welcome back to Combat Arms channel. Now today's video we're checking out the Philippine Scout Rangers. Now I've been getting this recommendation a bunch, mainly after my video about the Philippine Special Forces. So I'm very interested to check this out because you guys seem pretty passionate about this specific unit. Now there's a bunch of videos out there, but I found a documentary that I figured we could check out, and it seems like it shows a pretty good pipeline of their training and everything. So definitely willing to check this out. I know a lot of y'all definitely want me to check it out. So I don't really know anything about the Scout Rangers. I've heard about them a little bit, and I think I might have seen some videos about them previously, but I didn't really know it was the Scout Rangers. Now they have a pretty badass name, so I'm hoping they live up to that name and that reputation that you guys seem to be telling me about. But yeah, I don't know a whole lot about it, so I'm pretty much going into this documentary blind. So I mean, I guess that's the best way to do it because we're gonna get some raw reactions out of this, I guess. But yeah, it's a pretty good video so far. It seems like it's showcasing their training pretty well. So we'll just get into it because this documentary is pretty long. So this is probably gonna be a long video, and that's totally fine with me because these guys seem badass, and you guys definitely want me to check it out. So without further ado, let's get into it.
The Philippine Scout Rangers are a cut above the rest. A light, quick reaction force, trained to strike hard and fast, deep behind enemy lines. But to join this elite crew, soldiers must first endure 6 months of hell.
6 months.
To earn the coveted Tabat tab. It's a brutal selection course. Most will fail. To graduate, they must face a test of life. A live combat mission against insurgents, where some will pay the ultimate sacrifice.
What? That's crazy. Dude, that's badass. I'm hyped now. Okay.
The Philippine Scout Rangers are fearsome anti-guerrilla fighters.
We evaluate our targets. We analyze, we discuss who among them needs elimination.
They are trained to operate in dense jungle terrain found across the Philippines archipelago.
The Scout Rangers go behind deep enemy lines with just small teams, little as 7 men.
Traveling light and hitting hard.
So I didn't know that any other military used the Steyr AUG. So it's cool to see that they're actually using the Steyr. Again, I thought only Australia utilized the AUG, so it's cool to see what they're using. Their camouflage looks interesting too. It's sort of like the digital pattern, but it's a lot darker than I would expect for this environment. But I mean, I guess I haven't really seen so much of the Philippines, so I guess we might see a little bit more of if it's like relatable to their actual environments. But these guys seem pretty badass. I like how they're rocking the berets and everything. And dude, so far it seems like their training pipeline is brutal. Which again, when you're called the Scout Rangers, you can imagine you're probably going to be pretty badass. Because I imagine it's a little bit of a mixture of like the Army Rangers and just like general reconnaissance and just like long range reconnaissance. Because yeah, they're going to be operating in the jungle. You need to have a lot of solid people to be operating in an environment that unforgiving.
And to be able to strike fast, they use helicopters to hit the battle zone, specializing in raids, ambushes, and sabotage.
Oh, here we go.
The Philippines has long been plagued by domestic conflicts, one of which gave birth to this elite unit.
The 1st Scout Ranger Regiment was formed in 1950 because the government is looking for a solution to counter the guerrilla tactics of our then communist armed groups. They're called the Hooks.
Skilled in unconventional jungle warfare, the unit was modeled after 2 legendary fighting groups, the intelligence-gathering American Alamo Scouts and the combat-ready U.S. Army Rangers. 112 students.
Okay, I gotta say I've never heard of the Alamo Scouts. Is that what they were saying? I've never actually heard of them, but you know everyone knows who the Army Rangers are, so they don't really need any explanation. So I might have to check out those the other Scout unit after this, because yeah, I have no idea. I've never even heard of them before. So I wonder if they get like training from the Army Rangers, or if they get training from any other U.S. military units in general. Okay, if you guys couldn't tell, it's raining outside again. Again, it is monsoon season here, so it's been raining pretty much nonstop. So you might be hearing that in the background, so I apologize, but we'll continue on with the video.
U.S. Army Rangers. 112 students joined the first Scout Ranger class. Only 72 graduated. But to become a member of this elite group, soldiers must first pass 6 months of advanced training. And it all starts here, at Camp Texan, San Miguel, Bulacan, in the northern Philippines.
I don't know anything about the Philippines, honestly. Unfortunately.
These 206 volunteers are already trained soldiers from other Army regiments.
Rangers, good morning.
Vying to become part of an even more elite military club. First, they will be stripped of all their ranks. Here, every man is equal. All aiming for one thing. The coveted tabak of the Scout Ranger Training School.
Yeah, so it's pretty much the same in U.S. Army Ranger School, where you take off your rank and everything. So they try and get everyone equal. Basically, your experience prior does not mean anything because they're trying to assess you as an individual and how you can work with the people around you.
The red border signifies the blood, sweat, and tears shed by every ranger during his course. The sword symbolizes our special unit capability, and the words we strike symbolizes our capability to go anywhere, any place, and anytime.
Today is known as Reception Day, and recruits are in for a grueling welcome. For the next 5 hours, these instructors will try and break as many as possible through continuous physical exercises.
Yep, sounds like Ranger School.
It's not just the instructors who will be brutal. Today is a searing 32 degrees Celsius.
Okay, I have no idea what that is in Fahrenheit because I'm very American and we don't use Celsius. Okay, so that's 90 degrees Fahrenheit, which is, it's not too bad, but when there's a lot of humidity, it gets to be really rough, especially when you have all the camouflage on and you're carrying a bunch of equipment and you're doing stuff constantly. Your body doesn't really get a chance to cool down too much.
Just 10 minutes in, and the course has already claimed its first victim to the heat.
Yep.
Kung gusto mo talagang makuha ang isang bagay, pagbutihin mo yung kuan talaga na yung galing sa puso mo ba na.
The next challenge sees them hitting the ground. The unfit or unwilling have no place in the Scout Rangers. At age 32, Recruit 1 is one of the oldest in the course.
This is my ambition. It is very difficult and it's very hard to be trained as a ranger. That's why I don't know what's the training I will going to survive this.
Yeah, dude, 32 years old. I mean, I went to Ranger School when I was like, what, 25 or 24? And it's very hard whenever you've been in the military and you have like pre-existing like just injuries from throughout your service. It's pretty hard, but especially when you're in the military and you're like 32 years old, it just takes a while for your body to recover, and just things will kick your ass a little bit more than, you know, some of the younger folks. So you can imagine he's struggling a lot.
Right, of course.
That looks like fun. Just imagine the bugs. Making him a sugar cookie.
2 hours to go. For those still in the game, the pain is nearly over. Reception has nearly ended. But this last tradition is a hard one to stomach. chilies.
I like spicy stuff.
Right now, this is the final phase of our reception rites. We're trying to let them eat the chili pepper,
That'd make you so much hotter, though.
the juice of it. So after this, they're licking the tabak sign or insignia.
Okay.
And then the musang or the Black Panther, it's our logo for the Scout Rangers.
I always wonder how these traditions sort of start, but I mean, I don't know if there's like if it's well documented or anything, but you always wonder, especially when you're going through certain things and there's just like a weird tradition that sticks out. I always wonder like the origins of it, and normally they would explain it, but I'm not sure if they actually explained it to these recruits.
Philippine Scout Ranger recruits are 7 weeks into their brutal training regime. 53 have already dropped out.
Those who fail to graduate has one thing in common. They easily give up. The battle has been won yet, they already doubt themselves. Once you doubt yourself, definitely you will not finish the course.
Pag-exit sa static line, sisigaw ng opera pin.
Awesome repelling.
Nakuha.
The recruits will test their heads for heights today. They're going to learn to rappel on this 45-foot tower.
That's not bad. Unless you hate heights.
Scout Rangers pride themselves in lightning infiltration and extraction, often from helicopters, into dense jungles.
Rangers specialize in jungle warfare. They rappel down mountains, cross rivers, using expedite methods or anything that's available within them.
In the jungle, they
That's
need
fun.
to feel comfortable hanging at 100 feet in the air, well under fire. In a battle zone, quick execution of these skills could mean the difference between life and death. Recruits will have to complete 4 crucial forms of rappelling: the seat hip rappel, the lizard rappel, the rundown rappel, and the heli repel.
Okay, so I've done 3 of those, but yeah, that lizard rappel looks really cool. The helo rappel, that last one, is definitely the easiest because it's just you're not touching the wall. For some reason, whenever I'm going down the wall when I'm rappelling and I'm using my feet, like it never goes smoothly. No matter how many times I've done it, it's just like when you first get into your L shape and then you get your first drop down, you basically just have to keep kicking off the wall. Because for me, if I try and walk down the wall, it never ends up well.
And then hawak sa brake. To the part. Okay. Hold the rope.
Recruits 1 and 155 are up first with the seat hip rappel, used for mountain evacuations. Recruit 155 is one of the youngest in the course.
Naramdaman ko po, kinakabahan po ako ngayon. And first time ko po ito nalulula dahil sa mataas ng tatawirin nito. Pagsubok po sa buhay.
Go.
Seems comfortable with it.
Sit hip rappel, boss, start!
Ranger Kirante, ready for reform!
There you go.
For Recruit 197, the lizard rappel used for clearing rooms with hostages is proving a challenge.
Okay.
This fully loaded M16A1 rifle weighs over 3 kilograms.
Mas mahirap ito sa lizard. Yung tali, mas masakit siya sa biwang mo. Kasi pababa yung ulo eh. Yung bigat nandun lahat, tapos may baril pa. Masakit talaga siya.
Seems like he did pretty well. I'm not sure what he was saying.
Next,
There
they
you
must
go.
conquer the slide for life, a 200-meter flying fox.
Flying
Ang
fox.
importante po ng Slide for Life, kung nag-ooperate tayo, may mga cases na madaanan natin to, lalo na sa mga ilog, malalalim na ilog.
It's a
Yeah, they have this exact same thing at U.S. Army Ranger School. So I'm seeing a lot of similarities as far as stuff you would see. But again, these guys are in a much different environment. It's not Fort Benning, Georgia. These guys are in the Philippines. So the weather is going to be not totally different, but definitely different enough. for you to notice it, especially if you're not used to the actual weather. But yeah, this is a big one, especially if you're good with the heights with the rappelling. You should be good with this, but even still, a lot of people just aren't comfortable with it. But it seems like fun. I never actually did this specific one that they're doing right now, but it's a lot of fun, especially when you're like up high and you're doing these cool obstacles and everything. It's a lot of fun.
7-second expressway to safety or injury.
Kung pagdating mo doon sa taas, paghawak mo ng pulley, pag hindi ka nakagrip, may posibilidad na malalaglag ka dito. Tapos makon yung katawan.
Yeah, it's scary at first, so you're gonna have like that death grip.
Not getting it right here won't kill them.
Na dapat doon sila bumagsak sa kabila dahil for secure. Kung dito kasi delikado at medyo mababaw na, kasi may mga bato-bato na dyan.
I had a soldier whose last name was Coronel. He actually got run over by the National Guard by a Humvee. So I think I probably did a video about that by the time this goes out. But yeah, long story.
But in the jungle, one mistake could mean death.
Jeez. An insect could mean death in the jungle.
Next
honestly.
up is amphibious training. Some recruits are weak swimmers. This phase will aim to weed out those that can't make the grade. Recruits will be thrown into this 12-foot deep river, blindfolded and in full combat gear, weighing 30 kilograms. The aim is to first disorient them, then see if they can calmly recover and reach the surface.
Are they dropping their stuff?
For
Okay.
recruits terrified of water, this is their worst nightmare. Recruit 181 will confront one of his lifelong fears.
So, kinakabahan ako dito kasi dito, mahina talaga ako sa kuan, langoy. Nung nangyari sa akin, nalunod kasi ako, matagal akong sa tubig. May phobia na talaga ako dyan, pero sinusubukan ko lang yung parang kina-counter ko lang yung takot ko dyan.
I'll say 12 feet doesn't sound too deep until you have a bunch of stuff on you and you start sinking further and further and you're not hitting the bottom. But it looks like they're doing the similar thing that we would do in Ranger School and everything, which is basically just taking off your gear, like just being calm enough to take your gear off and then get back to the surface. So let's see if that's actually what's happening here. Okay, yeah.
Recruit 181 survives this first challenge.
His uniform.
But up next is an even tougher one. In small groups, recruits must tread water for 30 minutes in this 5 by 5 meter square. Freshwater
30
has a
minutes.
density lower than saltwater, making floating much more difficult.
Yeah, I'm not buoyant at all. I'm very much the opposite of buoyant. I sink like a rock. So treading water is a huge struggle for me. I can't float on my back or anything, and I can't do like the normal treading techniques. So my treading water is basically just me just swimming around in small circles. And I don't know, I've never done it for more than like 10 minutes. But 30 minutes is definitely much longer than anything you'd see with like normal like U.S. Army and even the Marine Corps, just traditional basic swim calls. It's a lot longer.
For those waiting, the cold and cramping is causing problems they don't need.
Oh man, I didn't know it was cold. That sucks.
Ranger, dito kita. Ranger, kita.
I wonder how cold it actually gets in the Philippines, because I never even considered that it actually gets cold there. I guess that's just ignorant of me, because again, I don't know too much about the Philippines.
Pero hindi ko sigurado kung tatagal ng 30 minutes sa tubig.
Madigyo kayo dyan.
But recruits have more to worry about than staying afloat.
Is there an alligator or something?
At the end of the 30 minutes, the instructors will jump in and attack the weak.
5 ka, sa gitna na kayo. 1, 2, 3, 4,
Dang.
5. Time!
Ah! Can you fight back?
If recruits don't have the energy or aggression to fight back,
Okay.
they could find themselves in deep trouble.
Start punching people. That's
If
badass.
recruits fail the first time, they are forced to redo this until the course director is satisfied.
Oh.
For the poor swimmers,
Dude, I've never seen anything like that, but that is so badass. Again, it's really instilling that confidence, but geez, if you're a weak swimmer, then you just be terrified waiting for that 30 minutes to end, and all of a sudden you have these instructors jumping on top of you.
this is hell.
We have this drowning part for training for our recruits, for them to get prepared when they engage their enemies in the water. If someone is drowning them, they don't get panicked, and they know what to do.
5 ka, sasakit na kayo. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Time!
Recruit 199 is in trouble.
Oh, dude, he's trying to get away.
Yung sinakyan ako ni CD, talagang mabigat tsaka parang mawawalan na ako ng malay talaga. Unti-unti na talagang naubos yung lakas ko.
The recruits survive amphibious training. But what lies ahead will test their nerves and risk their lives to become a Scout Ranger. The Scout Rangers are an elite
That looks
strike
like
unit
fun.
on constant standby to deploy against insurgent groups across the Philippines archipelago. June 7th, 2001. Muslim insurgents, the Abu Sayyaf, hold 3 civilian hostages deep in the jungle after kidnapping them from the Dos Palmos resort in Palawan a year before. After stalking
Dang.
them for days, Scout Rangers tracked the guerrillas' footprints through the night. By the next day, the Rangers creep within 30 meters of their targets. For the next 2 hours, they engage in intense firefight against 30 rebels
2
in muddy
hours.
and thick terrain. 4 enemies are left dead and 1 hostage rescued.
Oh man, that sucks. I guess
Marksman.
they couldn't get the rest of the hostages. Dude, 2-hour firefight? That's crazy. I mean, again, you can do all the planning and everything that you are trying to do to be successful. But at the end of the day, things are going to go in different directions and you're just trying to react at that point. But 2 hours is definitely a long time. But dang, that's pretty badass for them to be getting within 30 meters though. So yeah, it sucks for the hostages, especially when they're at a resort. But I mean, at least we had people who were able to respond to it eventually.
Ship is a key skill for a ranger. Today, these recruits need to prove they have it.
Way more fun than drowning.
Fundamental understanding of positioning, aiming, breathing, and correct trigger pressing will be put to the test in 5 separate skills. Zeroing,
1 inch below the line of sight.
endurance firing, record firing, and the sneaker course.
Huh.
But it is the final exam that is the most nerve-wracking of all. A confidence test that can kill. Recruits are required to shoot 2 bags full of colored water at a distance of 25 meters using this M16A1 rifle with
That's
a
fun.
5.56 caliber round.
So we've seen some crazy stuff with like Russians doing all these drills, like shooting past each other. But this is pretty reasonable. It is 25 meters. Again, you are going to be pretty nervous, especially if you see your buddy downrange. But I mean, it's definitely doable, and it's not anything that's too crazy. So I mean, it's a pretty cool drill. I'm a ranger and a sniper too. Okay, I like it.
First, they practice. Then their teammates hold the bags. At this range, a 5.56 round could kill. Hitting the thigh could rupture the femoral artery, one of the body's most important blood vessels. Rapid blood loss leading to death can occur in just 5 minutes, and the margin for error is slim.
Quicker than that even.
Kahit na perfect na ibang part ng fundamentals, pag nagkaroon ng error sa trigger, konting error lang, maaaring ang target hindi na siya tatamaan. Maaaring kakaliwa ang bala or kakanan.
This is more than just marksmanship. It's a test of trust.
Pag kaibigan mo kasi, kakabahan ka na maari mo siyang matamaan o hindi.
It's judgment time. One target down.
What if he actually shoots him in the leg?
Lucky for his friend, Recruit 22 passed, and they both move one step closer to being a ranger.
Nice. Oh, snap.
Next, the recruits begin the heliborne training phase.
The fun stuff.
Scout Rangers can deploy quickly into conflict areas by air. Landing into hostile territory, a helicopter is a big target. These men need to get out as quickly and safely as possible to avoid the helicopter getting hit.
Bali, ang tinuturo ko sa kanila ay paano yung tumalon and then i-secure yung mga landing zone, paano nila i-secure din yung mga personnel during movement, loading and unloading ng personnel.
Mistakes here can cost lives, even in training.
Napakahalaga yan na malaman nila kasi as a Scout Ranger, hindi mo na kailangan pang i-command.
First, recruits gear up for the quick deployment method. If the terrain is clear, the helicopter can fly fast and low while the troops disperse.
That looks like so much fun. Of course, when you start getting further and further into the training, it's not going to be so much about smoking you because they're trying to actually teach you and instill stuff in you. But man, I would be psyched for this. This looks like a lot of fun.
Makisama, makiramdam mga dito sa surrounding.
It's a risky 10-foot jump, and one mistake could result in broken bones.
That's cool. Oh, that looked like it hurt.
Next, they have an even tougher challenge, Heli Repelling.
Yung heli...
I gotta say, rappelling from a helicopter is not that hard. It's actually a lot of fun. The thing you need to get over with is walking backwards on the helicopter and, you know, backing out of the helicopter. That's the biggest thing that psyched me out originally, but it's a lot of fun.
Ginagamit yan during infiltration na kung saan hindi kayang bumaba ng aircraft. Hindi kaya niyang bumaba ng sa ground, magtouch sa ground.
They're high up though.
Baba yung tropa, use of the rope.
Recruits practiced this skill at the tower earlier in training, but now they take it to new heights. They need to complete nerve-wracking drops from 50, 70, and finally 80 feet above the ground, with nothing to stop them but their hands.
Ang nervous hindi natin inevitable. Talagang ganyan. Pag una, nervous pero i-control mo.
Recruits first tackle the 50-foot drop.
So 50 feet, not too bad. 70, also not too bad. But when you start getting to 80, then you're like, geez, this is actually going to take a while to rappel down. But setting up, like being the one who actually learned to set up the helicopter rappelling rigs, especially for the Huey itself, it's very easy to set up the rappel system for the Huey. So these guys should be pretty confident just because there's not a whole lot that can go wrong with rappelling. As long as you're not, you know, slipping your brake hand out, then you should be fine. It's just the thing that you need to get over with is not gripping too much with your guide hand, because if you grip with this hand while you're actually going down, you're going to start burning your hand a lot, especially when you get to 80 feet. When you get to like 40 feet, this hand's going to be smoking if you're really gripping hard, if you're really nervous. So we might see that. People might start burning in their hands.
Kung tumalong ka ng siyang beses, paulit-ulit mo nang hanapin dahil nagaganahan ka na at excited ka na.
One step further at 70 feet, the winds become harder to battle.
Training is located near the mountainous areas, so tendencies for the wind to blow from all directions, making it harder for the pilots to control the aircraft.
That's fun.
Next, it's time for the big one. One mistake during this 80-foot drop could prove fatal.
Yeah.
Recruit 20 experiences trouble.
Dude.
He's unable to control his descent. Quickly, an instructor hits the brake.
Tuloy-tuloy na ako kaya kung halimbawa walang biliman tapos nangyari din sa field. Kung hindi ka naka-brake, diretso ka talaga. May tendency na mabalian ka or mamatay.
I did a very similar thing when I was rappelling. Sometimes you just go down a lot quicker than you expect, and your brake isn't as effective. And yeah, it's kind of scary because you think you're just going to shatter your knees. But you do have people, like with the training aspect, you have people on the bottom to belay. So if someone is like falling or going too fast, you can like sort of like make the rope like sort of wrap it around you almost, and it sort of breaks them. So yeah, I guess that's what happened with the instructor and the student.
Tomorrow, the recruits will face their toughest challenge yet. 153 recruits remain in the fight to become an elite scout ranger.
Okay.
Today is the beginning of Hell Week.
Oh.
A culmination of everything they've learned put to the test.
For the next 6 days, there will be no rest for them. We push the students to the edge, testing their stamina,
6 days.
confidence, psychological toughness. As the day goes by, the test will get tougher.
If they fail one part, the recruits will be recycled to the next class or returned to their mother unit. First up is land navigation.
Land navigation is very important as a scout ranger. Scout rangers should never get lost in the jungle. If you get lost, you won't be able to accomplish your mission. You will jeopardize your team.
The stakes.
Yeah, again, land navigation is one of those things that no one really pays too much attention about when they're talking about all the high-speed people. But if you're like a recon element, or especially like a ranger, where you're pretty much in the desert or the jungle doing your thing on your own, then yeah, you're going to need to be pretty proficient at land navigation, because if you get lost, you're sort of SOL.
Will be high in 3 months' time when these recruits face real enemies. They must prove they can lead the way. Each recruit is given a unique navigation route comprising of any 5 of these 24 targets. The chart contains a set of colors with different corresponding letters. They have to find their way point to point, but no one route is the same for any of these 153 recruits.
Yeah.
They have 4 hours to complete the test, and the course could see them covering over 12 kilometers. If a recruit returns late or does not complete his answer sheet correctly, he will fail. Recruit 8 has reached 3 of his 5 targets in under 2 hours.
It's 170 degrees and the distance is 1,100 meters from here. It's my 4th target.
Now on to his last destination.
Hell yeah.
Because I said there's a stake under the mango trees.
But the directions to this one aren't as straightforward.
Ito to, pag sundot yung bakod na yan.
Yan, pwede rin, sir.
Pag ganun, nababa.
Yeah, with that terrain, it can be pretty hard to find your points sometimes. Now, normally when you're doing land navigation, what you can do is go to something near your point, whether it be like a big hill or the bend in a road. You can just like use that to run over there super quick and then shoot a direction like 100 meters away, as opposed to being like 1,000 meters away and just trying to go in a straight line the entire time. But with this sort of terrain, it probably makes it a lot harder.
He is lost. And he's not the only one. Time is ticking down. If they don't get back in the next hour, they will fail. And they're a long way from home. Recruits are battling to become elite Philippine Scout Rangers. It's Hell Week. And they're in the middle of their navigation exam. Time is running out for Recruit 8, while some have already made it to the finish line. but the mistakes are numerous.
Oh.
Siguro hindi nila na kukuha yung basic ba na dapat gawin. Kung paano kumuha ng reference, kung paano mag-plot ng compass sa mapa.
One has run into bad luck. Recruit 205 claims he has been the victim of theft. A cow has eaten his test paper.
Speculation niya yung baka, sir.
Baka wala, baka din.
Doon sa kon, sir, may nakatali doon, sir, sa pangatlong target, sir.
Bakit naman kakainin ng baka yung papel? Hindi naman
I bet that's a first for the instructors.
Hindi mo nga, sir, kinain, may mga laway pa, sir.
Tingnan mo nga ito kung tama talaga na, no? Breeze.
The instructors don't believe him. It's a nervous wait as they check out his story.
Sinasabi ko naman yung totoo. So, sa instructor na lang yan kung maniwala sa hindi, basta...
They can't verify his story, but they will give him the benefit of the doubt. Recruit 205 is given another chance at the test.
Banat, he will join.
But fail this time, and he will be out of the course.
Okay.
Back in the field, Recruit 8 gets some help.
Pero doon sila, dinaanan nyo. Sila poste. Luto.
With just 50 minutes to go, his fifth and final station is done.
Nice.
Recruit 8 heads back to the training school to meet his comrades.
Sometimes the points will have like the actual degree on the point itself. So if you go to the wrong point, you can at least find out where you are on the map. So I don't know if this course had that, but when the points do have that, it is very helpful because you can just readjust and shoot a new azimuth or go to a new direction.
Recruit 205 returns from his second consecutive test, just in the nick of time. It's the moment of truth. But it's not good news.
Sa pag-umpisa pa lang, wala na. Pangalawa, wala din.
Ano bro, zero?
Wala sir, wala talaga. Hindi talaga tumama.
He's failed. As a recycled recruit, it is certain that his journey to be a scout ranger is over.
Once na kamali ka sa unang target pa lang, mali na talaga lahat yan. Kaya doon ako talaga sumablay.
At the end of the navigation day, 20 recruits
That
have
frickin'
failed.
cow, man. That cow ruined it for
Recruit
him.
35, it's a cruel end of the road.
Talagang masakit talaga. Hindi ko akalain na sa tagal namin na training. Tapos yung pinag-iingat-ingatan mo na training mo, para isang pagkakamali mo lang, biglang nawala lahat. Nagunaw lahat.
But the night is not over for those who remain. The recruits are not allowed to rest. They're kept up all night practicing martial arts.
There's worse things to be doing, I guess.
This is not designed to make them experts at fist fighting, but to wear them down.
Yeah, it definitely
7
will.
a.m. Another grueling day of testing begins. It's the water confidence exam.
Okay.
Recruits will complete the aptly named Slide for Life. But first, they need to successfully swim across this lake in uniform and combat boots, weighing down the body.
I wonder how far
Recruit
that is.
181 struggled with the earlier swimming tests. But this one is harder. The weaker swimmers panic.
Nasa gitna ako ng tubig, halos marami akong nainom na tubig na pumasok sa bunganga ko. Talagang pilit ko pa rin nilulutang yung sarili ko sa taas para makakuha ng hangin. Akala ko hindi ko may susurvive yung langoy.
Yeah, so especially when you have the uniform and the boots, dude, that makes a huge difference. If you're a weak swimmer and you've never like swam with the uniform and boots, then you're gonna have a very bad time. Like with me, when I went to Marine Corps boot camp, I wasn't a huge swimmer. I was a very bad swimmer actually, because I just never did it. But when I had my uniform on and I had the boots, I was struggling. I didn't get recycled or anything. I didn't fail, but you have to use certain techniques to help you out if you're a weak swimmer. Like for me, I did the backstroke. Sometimes you can do the side stroke, and that's a little bit better for the uniform if you don't have the endurance to do like freestyle and everything. But yeah, you definitely have to tailor your swim technique differently whenever you have all that stuff on if you're a weak swimmer.
It's Recruit 181's turn. Fail this, and he will be off the course.
I wonder how far it is.
Despite teammates and instructors' support, it's not his day. Recruit 181 will be recycled with 16 others who have failed the swim.
Diyan, alam ko talaga na hindi talaga ko papasa dyan. Wala na talagang lakas kasi sinabi ko na ilang araw na kami walang tulog. Pero before mag-open yung next class, practice muna ako ng langoy.
But his fellow failed comrades don't take the news so well.
Ranger Ines, bakit umiyak ka? So, itong class na to, kasi maski anong pilitin natin, hindi man rin kayo pala makakapasa. Next class kayo mag-join. Kuha? Yes, yes. So, magbalot ng mga gamit nyo? Yes, yes. Okay.
Yeah, that would be rough.
Day 4 of Hell Week. 116 recruits remain in the Philippine Scout Ranger training course.
Okay.
Over 40% of the class have dropped out or failed in the last 2 months.
Pagod po yan. Parang yung katawan mo ibibigay. Kailangan mo yung palakasin mo yung isip mo, stamina para masurvive.
And with 2 more days of Hell Week, followed by a real operation against real insurgents, the road ahead is long.
Dude, that still blows my mind that they're actually going to do like actual operations. That's like super badass to me. But yeah, it looks like they're going through like these obstacle courses, which, well, you know, they can be a whole lot of fun if you're, you know, you're not tired and you haven't been doing stuff for like 72 hours. But yeah, once you're doing a bunch of other stuff and then you do an obstacle course, like every little obstacle, even every little part of the obstacle is just going to feel super miserable.
Mag-ina ko, anak ko. Hope sana na maintindihan nila ang trabaho ko. Malakas pa rin ako. Kaya ko to i-survive.
4 a.m., recruits have to complete a 24-kilometer rucksack march. They haven't slept in over 100 hours.
Pagod pa ang katawan pero kakayanin. Para sa mga mahal sa buhay, isipin na lang na madali na makita yung kwan.
Even worse, they will have to carry 35 kilograms of gear on their.
So 35 kilos with, you know, 24 kilometer doesn't seem too bad, but again, you have to think with the weather, you know, possibly the environment, their boots might get wet, their socks might get wet. Once your socks are wet, then your feet are going to get torn up. And of course, they're going to be super like destroyed. At this point, they're like probably walking zombies because they're too tired and they probably can't pay too much attention to what's going on.
They march as a team, but it's an individual assessment. For Recruit 8, it's as much a mental battle as physical pain.
Kailangan matapos to. Hindi. Babagsak. Sayang namin mga pinaghirapan namin sa 2 buwan.
I feel better having like a reporter there and a camera.
There's less than 2 hours left, but the strain of 35 kilograms is showing.
Yeah. It hurts.
Buwabaon na tong jungle pack namin sa likod namin. Sakit na rin sa paa. Pero malayo pa ang lalakarin namin.
Oh man, 4 kilometers.
The march comes to a halt. But these exhausted recruits don't know what's coming next.
Uh-oh.
It has all been a ruse, For the most feared test yet, escape and evasion is about to start.
Oh,
Escape and
jeez.
evasion is an exercise wherein students get a chance to feel what it's like being caught by the enemy.
Recruits will be held captive and treated as prisoners of war.
That's badass.
It's a reality that could happen in just 3 months when they go into real battle.
True. So in the Marine Corps, they'd play like small mental games with hiking. You know, you would go maybe 20 kilometers, but when you hit 20 kilometers, when you get to that finishing point, you start going a little bit further, and just that small thing starts messing with people. But this is a completely different level. And again, you can imagine they're super tired at this point. They're super disoriented, and now all of a sudden they're going to be like a prisoner. So, man, it's crazy how they do like different levels. You know, you have like no sleep, you know, you're hungry, you're tired, and now all of a sudden you're a prisoner.
Robbed of their vision, their binds are positioned to maximize pain.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Commander, pag mo na ilain, yung tali sa konti
We don't do this to traumatize our recruits. We do this to remind them never get caught by the enemy, because the enemy will show no mercy on them, and eventually they'll be killed.
Scout Ranger recruits have endured 9 weeks of physical hell, but nothing could have prepared them for this: escape and evasion.
Jeez.
For the next 17 hours, recruits will be subjected to various forms of torture. The aim is to make them fear capture.
Experience ko naman sa iko-iko ay biglaan, nakakagulat na di mo talaga maasahan na mangyari habang nakadapa kami dun. So parang nararamdaman ko na yung mangyayari sa katawan ko. Parang alam ko na dito talaga mahihirapan ako.
So imagine all the bugs, man, all the
Mamatay ka na
mosquitoes.
lang kaysa mahuli ka pa. Pero talaga sumasagi sa isip mo na kailangan ko talagang tumakbo. Wala na yata, parang papatay na kayo eh. Pero pag doon pa lang nararanasan mo ng sakit, hindi ka na makapag-isip, hindi ka makasurvive doon.
For Recruit 2, it's a brutal lesson in survival.
I think your loyalty to your country is really being tested. You will realize, or you will give information to the enemy once you experience pain.
It's been 12 hours since the recruits were captured. What happens during this time is top secret.
Yeah. Not fun. I can just imagine that.
It was really one of the worst experience, if not the worst experience of my life.
Recruits have been through 4 months of punishing training, but it's not over yet. Recruits 2 and 3 are longtime friends. They've had the rare experience of going through all their military training together.
The pressure here is very heavy. We come from different units, so from the start, we found it very hard to adjust.
Your patience is being tested until you explode, until you cannot carry yourself anymore. As classmates, we really do our best in order to help each other to maintain our strength and to graduate eventually someday.
Yeah, it's always awesome to have a buddy to go through all this crap with you. But the crappy thing is if like the buddy drops or gets injured or whatever it is, then that would be like a huge, that would destroy you mentally. So you need to have some sort of separation, but again, it is like a huge pick-me-up when you have someone who's going through all this with you.
for the months to come, I think that my dependency on him will continue. I rely on him very much, and if ever he will not be around, it would really affect me personally.
Tonight, these two will lead the final platoon run, a test of teamwork and stamina. Next time they carry these 18-kilogram packs, it will be for their final test mission, a real battle. But some have additional burdens, like this MG60 machine gun.
Oh, man. 20 kilos yung dala ko. Makabot po ito ng 7 kilo po ito.
They have just 2.5 hours to complete a 17-kilometer circuit in the dark.
So, ang reason na bakit kinakandak ang platoon run sa gabi, yung kagamitan ng na hindi kaya pasukin ng mga military vehicle, yung mga area, so kailangan na double time.
Split into 4 platoons,
yeah,
they will be staggered in 10-minute intervals, one after another. As a team assessment, they must leave no one behind. If they do, every member of the platoon might fail the course.
So, mababackdown pa lang siya, tutulungan na. Hindi yung kung saan siya backdown, doon na siya i-assist.
They draw grass to see which platoon will go first. And they're off. "60 minutes into the run. So far, so good."
60 minutes.
The first platoon arrives at the turning point, but some begin to slow down.
Move. Okay, jump.
I'm sure at this point their legs feel like sandbags, like they're basically just barely picking their legs up. But yeah, that's a pretty decent distance, especially with all that weight and whatnot. And when you're being timed and it's sort of like a competition sort of thing, you're going to have a lot of people pushing each other. So it's nice to have that motivation between each other, but it's still going to be miserable.
Kakayanin namin to. Attitude lang, kaya pa. Attitude. Na po, medyo napagod, kaya kinuha ko yung baril na para makarecover po.
He's doing pretty good.
The platoons only have 30 minutes left to hit the finish line. Team spirit is vital in completing the run, and Recruit 3 has taken on additional weight.
Yung iba sa amin, pagod na yung mga kamay. Kaya pinapabuhat nila yung mga request sa iba. Talitan lang, swapping. Mapapansin nyo, pinapauna namin yung mga mahihina. Kasi kung hindi namin paunahin yung mga mahihina, hindi sila makakakabol pag nahuli sila. So kailangan mauna sila. Ayan! Sitong yan! Lalakas! Ayan! 1-6! Rapidon!
It's nice. The motivation.
The team make it in time.
We feel happy because we did it properly and we get a time we passed.
It's a defining moment for Recruit 3.
For me, as the platoon leader of 2nd Platoon, I think it's one of the most fulfilling event in my entire training. And this is also a test for our platoon mates, for the integrity of our platoon. And as you can see, some of us were shouting because this is the last night that we will be carrying those heavy loads.
It's a moment to celebrate, but not for long. They need to prove they have the combat skills to match. Soon, the recruits will face the ultimate challenge, a real test mission. Real enemies, real conflict. One they might not return from.
Test mission is a must for the members in order for them to graduate. That differentiates the Ranger training from all other military training.
they could face the Abu Sayyaf, the Moro Islamic Liberation Front, and the New People's Army, battle-hardened insurgents. But Recruit 3 is not daunted.
Every mission given to us, we will accomplish them with great achievement. And here in Scout Ranger Training School, they're not just training soldiers to become rangers, but rangers to become heroes.
Nice. As Recruit 3 and his class head into real battle to gain membership into this elite club, the class ahead has just returned from their test mission.
I have the honor to present to you 2 Army officers, 85 Army enlisted personnel, and 2 police non-commissioned officers who have satisfactorily completed all the requirements of Scout Ranger course.
These 89 recruits have endured one of the longest test missions in training history.
We spent 2 months in the Eastern Mindanao Command. 5 personnel, Army personnel have abducted, and we are tasked to rescue them.
But one recruit didn't make it back.
Accept also the soul of the class member who offered the ultimate sacrifice for peace.
Sobrang lungkot, tapos yung tao pa na halos nagsasabi ng problema, tapos yung taong pwede mo rin masabihan ng problema.
That's rough.
Basta masakit din sa akin kasi halos naging parang kapatid ko na rin siya.
One man died trying to earn this badge. But for those in this class that survived,
By virtue of the authority vested in me as the commander of 1st Scout Ranger Regiment,
these 8 months of hardship have earned them the Tobacco tab.
2013, I hereby declare the students of Scout Ranger course graduates effective today. Congratulations.
After being tested under
Badass.
fire, they now have the right to call themselves Scout Rangers.
You know, it's a good feeling.
Birds of some feather we gather together, Scout Rangers of fortune are we. We sing greetings the night with a song, laughing at danger we fight like a panther and conquer the heart.
Wow, that's badass. I mean, it sucks that the one recruit actually died when they were going through it, but you can imagine whenever you get through that training, man, you're going to be the tightest knit group out there. But yeah, this was a very awesome recommendation. Again, it was a long documentary, but we were able to see everything step by step, and it's just incredible to actually, know that there's a unit out there that does all of this, and they actually have to see combats before they graduate, and that's incredible. Like they're saying, it's unlike a lot of other militaries you would actually see out there. So awesome recommendation. The Philippine Scout Rangers. Wow. I didn't know anything about them, and now I think I know a decent amount. So, I mean, I have a whole new respect for the Philippine Armed Forces. But yeah, I do appreciate this recommendation, guys. I know a lot of you guys were recommending it, and I was seeing it all over the place, and I'm glad I was actually able to follow up with it. So I do appreciate this awesome recommendation. If you guys liked the video, hit the thumbs up. But comment and let me know what you think, especially if you're not from the Philippines. If you didn't know anything about the Scout Rangers, comment and let me know what you think, because these guys are seriously badass, and I'm glad I was able to check them out. But yeah, let me know what you guys think regardless. I do hope you enjoyed the video. It was very awesome to check out. But that is it for this one. I'll see y'all in the next one.